must be the greatest. I told the world, I got the guy every day. Best ever.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to DL Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Coach D, and my co-host here is Bad Chaz.
What's up, everyone?
Hometown hero, Mr. Ryan Rios, and we're here to talk about the sport you and I love, boxing. All right, guys. Well, let's get into it. Let's discuss some fights that have happened in the past few weeks. There's been boxing every weekend. You know, it's been a very, very awesome year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
Sure.
One of the best years I'd say we've had in a long time for the sport of boxing.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into it. A couple weeks back, we had Danny Garcia make his return. He has moved up in weight to 154, junior middleweight, his first fight.
He had a 19-month layoff, so this was his first time back.
Right.
That amount of time.
Absolutely. And his opponent that he fought that night was Jose Benavidez, who's also actually not a true 154-pounder. He himself has fought at 147, so he himself is another fighter that went up in weight.
I want to say it's his second fight.
I believe.
Yeah, right. So the matchmaking was really good for this, right? 19 months off for Danny Garcia, taking on another fighter who's, not a real junior middleweight per se. Danny Garcia did get the majority decision, although I thought it should have been unanimous.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on his performance?
As far as Danny or Benavidez?
Let's go with Danny Garcia.
You know what? I thought he did well. I thought, with that layoff, he didn't really show too much ring rust.
I agree.
I felt like he controlled distance. I felt like he controlled the fight. He was able to pick his shots when he wanted his shots.
Yeah.
I feel like Benavidez was always like one step slower than
absolutely,
Garcia.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it's just it all depends on what you've seen in the fight. What do you think?
I mean, I think that Danny Garcia did well, especially being the shorter reach fighter. He has a 71-inch reach versus Jose Benavidez. He has the 68-inch reach. He did good feet work. He boxed him all night. There was moments where Benavidez kind of had put on a show, and he was showing some of his older style, but it wasn't very often. He maybe had 2 or 3 rounds in his
right.
fight.
To me, it was a little annoying, right? Sticking out the tongue, and I'm like, well, you're not really
kind
being
of
effective,
tease.
right? Yeah, he wasn't really being effective. Kind of a tease.
Yeah.
It seemed like to me like Jose Benavidez kind of regressed from his loss to Terrence Crawford. Do you guys see that way? He's
yeah,
on his
like
way
a
down.
little bit of a decline. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like you said, he's always a step or two behind.
Yeah. I mean, Crawford's just the best of the best. So I mean, it's hard to
absolutely
compare apples with oranges.
Oh yeah, he's
and it was a crushing defeat. So you're never the same after especially when the elite boxer. He got stopped.
What round was it?
I want to say 11th. 12th was later round.
Okay.
Yeah, so
he
did.
And that was his first loss, correct?
That was his first
because
loss.
Because he was a phenom coming out. He was the guy to beat.
Exactly. And he was supposed to be what his brother David Benavidez is right now, right?
Right.
Exactly.
And Benavidez, he's actually the younger fighter with the longer reach, and he still, showed,
And he's the bigger fighter also.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then he also, too, has a reputable corner, too. His brother, he has him to spar with. And
right.
It's not like he's working with a non-talent, he has.
Yeah. That's a great point. And Jose, leading up to the fight, he did bring that up, like, oh, well, I spar with my brother, so I have nothing to worry about with Danny's power, right?
But you know what? I agree with that because I didn't see Benavidez get hurt at all. I mean, he got hit with some good shots, but did you ever see him rocked or stumble?
Not at all.
I mean, he took his shots well. So, I mean, getting beat by Crawford that bad, him coming back, he still kind of retained that jaw or that, ability to take a shot.
Yeah, what's funny is this still all sheds light on how good Crawford is, right?
Yeah.
Him being able to stop, right?
Exactly.
Crawford's a
just
phenom, man.
Benavidez just had a little hesitation to engage, you know what I mean? And then it just kind of allowed time for Garcia to kind of box around him and kind of work that jab and do some good feet work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you think if Benavidez applied more pressure, do you think it would have been harder for Danny Garcia to get in that rhythm? Because he had a really good rhythm going.
He did.
But whenever
right?
Benavidez put that pressure, it kind of like threw off his...
Threw him off.
I think so, yeah. I think I agree. Like there was times where Benavidez shined and he was kind of putting on that pressure. And you could kind of see it with Danny Garcia that, that he was kind of surprised that he kind of came forward with him. And, he just had he kind of lacked a little bit of the jab and kind of cutting off some of the ring, and he kind of stayed in place, and Danny kind of would hit and move, he'd get in there and make angles.
He boxed very well
using
with angles.
his shorter range, but kind of just using his skills, and he did a great job.
He did great. Good win for Danny.
Yeah. So what do you think is next for Danny?
What is next for Danny Garcia, guys? Well, he did call out.
147's hot.
Right. Well, he's at 154.
154. That's right. They moved up, yeah.
Well, he did mention two names at the post fight: Thurman and Lara, I believe.
Lara has the title, right?
Lara's the champion at 154. I think I would like to see the rematch with Thurman. Actually, I think they should run it back 154. Both of them at the later stages of their career. I think it makes sense.
But then you got he's 34 himself.
Yeah.
And you got time's not on his side. So Lara has a title. So, I mean, you think you chase a title or you chase a guy who beat you?
I think, well, you chase the guy who beats you. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Thurman brings him more money because of the name.
Payday.
That's
the payday,
true.
right?
At that age, you know.
Yeah, you got to go
with a pay-per-view maybe, too.
The pay-per-view, yeah. With Lara, who knows, not many people are keen on Lara. Yeah, so I would agree that Thurman is probably his best bet right now. And then if he gets past that, then he could look to the champions at 154 and make that last payday there.
Yeah, no, that was a good fight. Best for both of them.
I think one of the biggest takeaways from that fight was what he did after the fight.
Oh, yeah.
And he talked about what was bothering him, and it was like all these like mental health issues, all these
personal demons.
And it was just the fact that he was able to express that caught my attention. Is like most people don't talk about that.
Yeah. That's very, very brave and very, very, very good to see an athlete of his caliber, express those feelings to the whole world.
And he got good backlash, from that. He didn't get any bad, backlash. Talking about that.
Because it's a real issue.
I thought that takes a real man to do that.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. All right, very well, guys. Let's move on to the next fight. This was actually last week. On this part of the DAZN card, we had Blair the Flair Cobb take on Maurice Hooker. Now, I know when we previewed this fight, Rios, you had mentioned that you were thinking Hooker should be able to dispatch Cobbs, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My way of thinking, it was the fact that Hooker was coming off of two stoppage losses, to Jose Ramirez. And then to Vergil Ortiz, and apparently, I guess...
But two elite fighters,
but there were still beatdowns. And then I think he hurt his hand, if I'm mistaken.
Vergil,
is that what happened? That's right. I remember him kind of making a face with his hand.
But that fight was still close at the time, too, though, I thought.
Right. And you're right. I held Maurice Hooker at a higher caliber than Cobbs.
Absolutely.
Right? That's where...
Based on his fight with Vergil.
Yeah, the final nail in the coffin for me where I was like, okay, you know what? This is perfect the perfect alignment for Cobbs to win was when Maurice Hooker missed weight, coming in at 150, 3 pounds over the 147-pound limit. And I was like, you know what, guys? I think Cobbs might pull this off,
right
man.
on, because I didn't even think of that he was fighting at 147 or 140
right against Ramirez.
And then he went up to 147. He couldn't even make, what was it, 147? He was 150.
Right, exactly, right.
So when you said that to me, I was thinking like, 3 pounds, I still got my faith in Hooker, but I'm biased because we've met Hooker, dude.
Yeah,
we talked to
he's
him.
down to earth.
Yeah,
he's a super cool cat. I love Hooker.
Yeah.
So I was being biased. And when I seen Cobb fight against, I want to say, I went to that fight. It was Alexis Rocha.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't look very impressive. But Rocha took it to him. Rocha went to the body. Rocha pretty much did what he wanted to do with Cobb. Cobb put up a good fight, but I was just thinking Hooker was even better than Rocha.
Right.
And I was just kind of comparing styles, and I knew Hooker was going to go in there and bang. I didn't. Freaking Cobb had a great game plan, man. Great game plan. He caught him with those early shots. After that, it was Hooker played catch up. He couldn't catch up.
Yeah, he couldn't catch
up.
up.
And his mind, just even as far as out as he was before the fight, he was just.
And Cobbs caught him early on, and I think that might have been a big influence.
That was huge, man.
That was huge.
He was
3 knockdowns.
He was throwing those looping, swinging hands, and it kind of caught Hooker off guard early on. And then I don't know, that could have been a factor, or his hurt hand from the Vergil fight.
Right.
He didn't seem like he had that power or that pop.
I expected more from Hooker, based on his reach, based on the fight that I watched with Vergil. But nothing against the guy. He's down to earth. He's a cool guy. I hope that we can see him back again soon, and he can put on a good show.
Yeah. Where does Blair Cobbs go from here, guys? Before we get into it, I think we got to give, like you said, Hooker some credit. He hung in there. He could have very easily been stopped, right? Given up.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He actually started taking the fight to Cobbs towards the end, where he had Cobbs moving a lot around the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, credit to Hooker for hanging in there.
But again, I felt like you know, if he could have did some stuff different as far as cut off the ring.
Yeah, right. He lacked that. Yeah.
Jab more.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right.
so like he wasn't the same hooker that we're normally.
Yeah, he wasn't letting them
he hit the canvas in the first round though. He got hooked.
Yeah.
He got hit right in the.
And then who knows how he was feeling if his bell was still
Right,
raw.
right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did he get hit in the body at all? I mean, who knows?
Right. Maybe he's lucky he did get hit
Yeah.
to the body, or else I would have really ended
But do
his
you
night.
think Cobb has a chance as far as
No, that's
like
the
who
thing.
are some
but-
names that you can throw Cobbs in there with? That's like would be a
man.
good matchup.
Like I think he's just food for the welterweight.
Yeah, he's
division,
a stepping stone for.
So
new
him
and
and
up guys.
McKinson should go at it then, right?
Yeah,
That'd be perfect, right?
That's a good
Correct.
one. Yeah,
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean they're both kind of like boxers. They both kind of like walk
They
around.
both kind of got a
and-
little name for themselves.
Yeah.
A good undercard for a main event, or
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah. Good matchmaking, man.
Yeah,
All right.
he changed his coach though. He's not with
That's
Yeah,
right. He's not with
he's not a wild card no more.
yeah,
Freddie
yeah.
Roach. Yeah.
That's
he
what I
made some,
noticed.
he
I
made
noticed
some
that.
adjustments
He
too,
did.
you know. So it's
Credit
going to be
Blair Cobbs, yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what the future holds for him. You know, maybe that worked in his favor.
Yeah, we shouldn't write him off.
No.
but as of right now,
Not just yet.
I don't think he's a world beater.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a world class boxer to me. It's just more
Right.
like, but he had the perfect game plan. Again,
Yeah,
it's coaching.
yeah.
It comes down to coaching discipline
Right, right.
and sticking to that game plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sticking to the game plan. Cheers to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. All right. Now moving on to the main event of that DAZN card, we had the return of Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Michael McKinson, UK-based fighter, I
Yeah,
believe.
yep.
He was undefeated. Didn't have too much pop. He only had, I believe, 2 KOs on his record. But from the highlights, he looked really good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He was stinging his opponents. Good movement. Laying down the sweet science on his opponents.
Yeah.
So I think this win for Vergil was very impressive to me.
Absolutely.
Because of the body work that he started from
Exactly.
round one, putting that water in that basement. That's how you stop a boxer, right? A mover of that caliber. Anybody else that doesn't go to the body, this goes the distance.
Yeah.
Right. And who knows who wins? You know.
Yeah,
But,
I seen a little more defense and a little more slipping from Vergil, you know, and it was nice to see him fight up against a southpaw. Everybody else I've seen him fight has been orthodox, you know, and he's under a new coach now. You know, his dad is a heavy influence. They're good people from Texas, and you know, he has a bright future. You know, and hopefully he can get some more opportunity soon to come. As far as that fight goes, you know, it seemed like McKinson he was trying to do his best early on to kind of gain some respect from Vergil, but
Right.
it was just with due time. You know, McKinson didn't have any power. Vergil just took him time to walk him down, work on the body, bring it back upstairs, and then you know, he didn't last long. This was actually Vergil's longest fight. He's
Right,
known
going
to
to the
stop
ninth
everybody.
round.
by
And I think
pain.
that was his goal, just to hang in there as long as he could.
Absolutely,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Survive. He went into survive mode. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but nothing
there's
against him. This was a fight that was supposed to take place, you know, like 3 or
Last
4 months
March,
ago.
yeah.
But Vergil had some health issues.
That's
that
right, that's
he had,
correct.
you know, obviously that's first and foremost, you know. But he was able to come back, and you know, it's not like.
But he got a new trainer too.
He didn't run
left
well.
RBGA, which I don't know. Do you think that helped him or hurt him?
You know,
good.
it's hard
As
to
far
say-
as
it's
dieting,
hard to
as far as
say.
his, you know, because he got sick.
It's hard to
You think
say.
he would have got sick at RBGA? I mean, who knows? You think he would have been able to fight that fight with RBGA, or was it his training that kind
You know,
of kept him out of it?
Vergil, you know, from the time I've watched him, he's always just put on a good show. You know, he holds his ground. It's kind of hard to hurt him. Like, I think that, you know, they got a game plan and they're following through with it. I think that either way, he would have been successful at it. You know, he's young and hungry, and he has a lot of power. It's just,
That's
you
for
know,
sure.
this recently, I've seen him kind of demonstrate a little more defense in this last fight, you know, and it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah. I think he stuck to that game plan, poised, and that body attack was just
Yeah.
terrific. You said he's with new trainer. Is it Manny Robles?
Yes.
Do I want to say? Yeah, good trainer. Good trainer.
Yeah,
That was
And,
Andy Ruiz's old trainer, and
Right.
he still has Manny Robles has a really good stable
Valdez
right
is
now.
too, right?
Old trainer too.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, he's nothing new. You know, he's basically he has a reputation and a resume for dealing with some class acts and some entertaining fighters.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed that Vergil did some wide, strong angles. I mean, he took a page out of Bam's book. Did you guys notice those angles he was
kind of,
using?
yeah.
Like I had never
Go
seen
forward.
him do that.
Yeah.
And if he were to dial that in,
Oh, yeah.
man, that's
Yeah.
crazy, dude. Sky's the
Yeah,
limit.
Sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
Speaking of sky's the limit, where do you guys see Vergil Ortiz going from here?
He wants Spence or
I mean, it's
Crawford?
kind of hard to say right
Crawford,
now.
but maybe
He's-
Ugas. Can he take on Ugas?
That's a good matchup. Ugas would be a nice step
Or
up in
Thurman.
competition.
He's been calling out Thurman.
Thurman,
Thurman
yeah.
doesn't want it. So
You know,
I don't think
he's
so.
definitely ready for some of the bigger names. You know what I mean? I think it's
it all depends on Golden Boy too. so-
absolutely
Right, Golden Boy, yeah.
They kind of have the brakes on him. You know
Right,
what I
and
mean?
then you have Boots Ennis as well, on
Ooh, man,
another young
that's a-
superstar.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good guy right there.
Yeah,
He's talented.
Mhm, absolutely, I agree. So Ortiz does have some options, right, on the table. I know right now Spence and Crawford are kind of tying up the welterweight division as far as the titles, right? They're going to see if they could.
So it's Ugas. Spence has 2, Crawford has 1, and
No,
Ugas-
Spence has 3.
Oh, Spence
and,
has
yeah,
3?
and Terrence Crawford has a WBO, so that's
But
what
Ugas has about 2.
which Errol Spence took in his last
You're
fight.
right. You're right.
Yeah,
I know
So
you
you
mentioned.
don't
I know
want-
you
right.
mentioned
So
Boots
he-
Ennis, but he's not on the path to a title. That fight wouldn't really make sense. And Vergil's an old school guy. He cares more about the title. You know, he's
Yeah,
not.
right,
he's
right.
not.
And that's how it should be.
He's not in the fight game, you know, because he's Instagram famous. He earned every step of it. You
Oh,
know,
that's
he,
what he
deserves
wants
a
to,
title
yeah.
fight, if anybody. So I mean, you know, nothing against Boots, nothing against that fight. Maybe one day it'll happen, but
Oh,
I
it
think,
will,
I
it
think he
will.
deserves, you know, more of a Keith Thurman or one of those guys.
Because
that's
Virgil's
gonna get
number
him there.
1 in a lot of those categories. Like I think he's number 1 in WBC, right? What is Ennis like? Is Ennis like number 2, number 3, or is he one in
He's
some-
creeping up there.
Yeah.
he's creeping up there.
He definitely has a good record.
Yeah,
and he
for
has power
sure,
in
for
both
sure.
hands.
He's very talented. He's one of those amazing, you know.
Yeah.
But
promising
one thing I
fighters.
wouldn't want to see, I'd rather see Virgil fight Spencer Crawford than Ennis, just
Yeah.
for the fact because it's a title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like
I
I
don't think
said-
that should be the eliminator.
Right, yes.
McKinson was the eliminator.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what time.
So so Spence and Crawford right now have the welterweight division tied up because they're going to fight for undisputed. So yeah, like you said, I think Yordenis Ugas would be a nice step up fight for Vergil Ortiz.
But if you notice that McKinson, he was a southpaw. That's one of the first fighters that Virgil's faced. It's a
Right,
southpaw.
southpaw, yeah.
You know, I don't know if he's kind of grooming himself to fight up Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's been at like a couple of Virgil
his
Ortiz's
fights, yeah,
So
yeah,
he's basically
right.
he's
I
basically
noticed that
sees
too.
it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that would be a great
Inevitable, I think.
It's on its way.
Win or lose,
point,
he might
good
get
point.
Crawford.
right. You win, yeah, absolutely.
Like with
you're right.
Crawford, win or lose, I mean it.
With Spence, yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Absolutely.
Excellent, guys. All right, the last fight we want to cover that happened over the weekend was on ESPN Plus. We had the return of Michael Conlan. He fought a Colombian, Miguel Marriaga. He went 10 rounds. He won a unanimous decision. Of course, Michael Conlan. He's coming off
He actually got knocked out by Cook, correct?
Lee Wood.
Lee Wood, there you go.
Yeah, Lee Wood.
And actually, I didn't see this last one, but I know the one against Wood. Him and Wood went at it.
Yeah.
It was probably
It was
the
a
fight
war.
of the year.
It was a war,
and it was
yeah.
for a title, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was one of the best fights I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to watch this one, so I couldn't really give my input on
Well,
who.
yeah, good. And then he gets knocked out in his last fight in the very last round, right? So this is his comeback. He fights the tough Colombian Marriaga, who's at the end of his career. He actually scores 3 knockdowns in Marriaga, looking pretty good. You know, he looks like he slipped a little bit. But the thing that caught me later on that caught my attention later on in the fight was Marriaga was actually coming on towards the end of the rounds.
He
Did you
changed
notice
the
that?
pace. Yeah.
Did you
I
notice
watched
that?
it early on, and I thought,
Yeah.
Conlan's got this. You know, he's going to take over this fight. He was boxing. He was using his feet work. Marriaga, he was just kind of standing still and real
right.
still. You know,
Yeah,
conserving his energy.
Right.
And he saved it for the later rounds, and it showed eventually. You know, so it was definitely turned into a good fight and back and forth. But I definitely want to see these guys fight in the future. It was entertaining.
Yeah, you definitely want to see the rematch with Lee Wood. One quick thing I want to mention: Marriaga actually rocked Conlan in the last round again. Conlan was on Bambi legs, so credit to Conlan. You know, he survived that round. You know, that round. I'm sure it brought flashbacks.
So he tried to take Woods.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure that brought flashbacks, but he stuck in there and stuck it to the end of the round and won the fight. Very well, guys. That wraps up some of the past recent fights. This weekend we have the return of Teofimo Lopez taking on little-known Pedro Campa on ESPN Plus. What are some initial thoughts that you guys have on that bout?
Never heard of Campa. I think that this is Teofimo Lopez's rebound fight, basically after kind of what happened with him and help me out.
Lomachenko?
Not Lomachenko.
Oh, I'm sorry,
it's
George Kambosos.
George Kambosos.
Yeah.
He's kind of trying to recover from that loss.
Yeah.
I expect him to kind of go in there do well based on them kind of favoring this fight in Lopez's favor. I mean, I'll be watching it, but I mean, at the same time, it's kind of it's the truth. I mean,
like when you guys brought it up, I was like, I don't really care for Lopez that much. I mean, I don't want to sound like a hater, but he really, I think he rubbed the sport wrong when he failed to rematch Lomachenko, right? Or the way he went about it after he defeated him. He kind of went at it that wrong. But again, it sounded like he had some personal demons as well, and some personal friction going on in his life. But that rubbed me off wrong. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna watch it. This Pedro Campa, though, he has a good record. I don't know if this could be bad pickings. I know Campa has most of his record has been his fights have been in Mexico and in other countries, I suppose. But I know Teofimo better not overlook this kid because you never know, he might get shocked again. Because once the fighter sees another fighter beaten,
it's like a recipe.
Teofimo's Lopez future fights from here on out are going to be that much harder. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that, Ryan?
You know what? I don't know who Campa is. And Teofimo, I mean, let's see how he comes in.
Right,
you know what I mean? Is he
right. Benefit of the doubt.
He's also coming up in weight too, right?
Good. Yeah, 140.
So I mean, 140. He's already calling out Ramirez. He's already calling out Taylor. He's calling out all these big names. So I mean, let's see if he's about that talk. Yeah. You know, I mean, 140 is no joke. You guys all know who's at 140. Yeah. I mean, it's no joke. So I mean, I'd like to see him have a good performance. I like Teofimo. I mean,
me too.
Yeah.
I think I would like to see kind of him kind of get handed off from his dad and maybe get into an actual coach's hands, and it might kind of clean up the attitude a little bit. And he's still young, and he definitely has talent. I just think that there's some stuff going on there that is kind of caused what recently happened and stuff with the arrogance and stuff. And I mean, but hey, just give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll be tuning in watching that fight.
I'm sure we are definitely going to be watching.
We'll be watching. I'm picking Lopez to look good against Campa.
What, 5th, 6th round? What do you think?
Middle rounds. 5th, 6th round.
Is it a 10 round, 12 round? What do you think?
I want to say it's a 10 rounder. I'm not
Probably.
sure.
I'm thinking it's not a title.
Yeah, it's not a title. But I don't think it'll go to distance, guys.
Any good undercards on that?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think there's any.
I have noticed though, Teofimo, some of his training and stuff. It's kind of almost like Lomachenko stuff. It's kind of like a.
Did you? I didn't.
Yeah, he's
response and reaction.
Tennis balls, hand coordination.
Hand coordination. Yeah. Not a lot of wear and tear, but just fast movements and just kind of hopefully that'll work out in his favor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think he'll carry up his power to 140? I mean, I think he will.
I think
He's
he
got
will.
Power.
Well, with time, I mean, as you age.
Because a lot of fighters, they go up in weight, but that power doesn't go with them. People can take
I think he's naturally gifted with that punch, so it'll follow him up to 140. Sure. Cool, man. So we are all in agreement that Teofimo Lopez will win in spectacular fashion?
I think by knockout.
By knockout, excellent. Cool. The following week on August 20th, we have the big one, guys. The rematch.
Can't wait for that.
For the Unified Heavyweight Championship of the World, we have the rematch of Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony AJ Joshua.
And that'll be an early one, right? That'll be probably maybe 2 p.m. main event?
Yeah.
Shoot, we might have to get up at 2 a.m. over here in the United States.
I don't know. Hopefully not.
Where's it at? Is it in Saudi Arabia? Or
it's in Saudi Arabia, yeah.
Okay. So it's going to be around.
I don't know what the time zone is on that.
I think it's noonish.
Yeah, is it? Okay. What are you guys' initial thoughts? Or who do you guys have in this fight?
You know, I think I'm rooting for Joshua. I want to see Joshua beat him. Maybe they'll have a trilogy. Or maybe Joshua will fight Fury. That's what I really want to see. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Usyk is not a true heavyweight, but I also see that he's gaining weight. I think that
he looks good, and
he's big. He's getting big. He's getting strong. But then again, I'm a huge RBGA supporter.
Yeah, that's true.
Robert Garcia Boxing Academy supporter.
Which Anthony Joshua has changed trainers to Robert Garcia.
Exactly.
Which is a nice move. He seems like he wants to focus on physicality, imposing his power. Pressure, power, and get that knockout.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
And who knows? I mean, because sometimes I think when Joshua gets hit and he gets stunned, he doesn't think about what his game plan was. He reverts to what he knows. I mean, which is just instinct.
Right. And then going back to that first fight, Joshua made that huge mistake of trying to box with Oleksandr Usyk. trying to keep to a jab, but Usyk's movement was just too elusive, and he would.
He didn't use his advantage.
He didn't. Right. So I am more than excited to see how Robert Garcia's game plan. How he's going to go about. But at the same time, how we were discussing, is that going to give Usyk more openings to land his power shots and
it's hard to say.
Joshua out.
Ever since maybe he's training for Robert Garcia. He's not training for Joshua. Maybe he's training for what Robert Garcia does.
Right. It seems like ever since Andy Ruiz hit him right there in the equilibrium, it's always kind of made him hesitant
in the back of his mind. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Good point.
And then you got Robert Garcia. I'm a big fan of him too, but he's more of a come forward style. He doesn't really have much of a defense for his fighters and stuff. And who's to say that might be a factor on the day of that fight? It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm going for Joshua too, but at the same time, like I'm kind of being a little critic of it.
Yeah. Have you guys followed the camp at all? Have you guys kind
of? No,
seen
I haven't.
They don't have like a Showtime.
They're not.
What network are they?
The Zone. The Zone. This will be on the Zone. I want to say that a lot of the footage has been very hush. Especially I've been Joshua's side,
because I kind of like to see their camps, what they're working with. But the only time I see Robert is when he's kind of doing a podcast with his son, and he doesn't really say much. So maybe they're throwing off Usyk by not putting any content out there.
Right? Who knows, man? Wouldn't that be something, right? If Anthony Joshua beats Usyk, becomes 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And I like Joshua because he wanted to go right back after Ruiz, and who knows? Maybe there'll be another Ruiz. That's just even better for boxing.
That'll be a huge event. There's not a lot going on in the heavyweight division. You could probably count it on two hands, basically, like what your opponents are. So they're all kind of going to rematch or go back to each other eventually.
Which I don't mind a fighter having losses. It's cool to see undefeated fighters keep that streak. But at the same time, you have a good fight and you have a good scrap.
Good character, man.
That's what boxing's about.
Exactly. That's what we all love to see.
Right. Absolutely.
How you come back, how you better yourself, and how you overcome adversity.
That's encouraging.
And that's what we want to see with Teofimo Lopez, right? As well as Joshua. I think in my heart, I want Joshua to win, just because I think it'd be very much more exciting for the heavyweight division. But my mind says Usyk will get him out of there this time.
You think he'll knock him out?
He'll knock him out because he's going to give him the openings. More of the openings this time coming forward.
And I think that Joshua kind of keeps his distance, and then he applies pressure when he needs to. And honestly, RBGA goes to the body a lot. So maybe he might have a better game plan for
I would love to see that.
Joshua, he's the bigger, taller stature, right?
Right.
Yeah. Which is going to give more opportunity to the body. You know what I mean? It's going to be more of a natural for him to kind of go to the body. But do you think
he's going to get hurt to the body like Usyk would get hurt to the body?
It's hard to say. Joshua, like watching his previous fights, he just hesitant to engage. If he uses his physicalities like he should, I think that he could keep that guy at bay and he can control him all night. If he's hesitant to engage based on what has happened to him in the past with getting hit in the head, and he's just kind of psychologically a little hard for him to go forward. I think that's going to make or break the deal. I hope Robert Garcia has an influence on him and he can come forward and show what he's
or has an answer for Usyk.
And I know this is another topic, but the only reason I'd want Usyk to win is for Canelo to get a shot at him.
Maybe one day.
Canelo get the heavyweight champion, championship of the world or something. So.
That's a tall mountain to climb.
It's a tall mountain to climb. We already
can do it with Bivol. So.
Right,
that's another topic.
But when they brought that up, I was like, "Oh my god, wouldn't that be something?" But I hear you. Yeah, so let's go with our picks. I'm picking Usyk to win by 9th round knockout.
I say Joshua by decision.
Good.
Okay, I say Usyk by decision.
Usyk. Okay, maybe we might change next week. Who knows? But right now we'll stick to that. All right, guys. Let's preview one more fight. The return of Adrien Broner versus Omar Figueroa. This will also happen on August 20th on Showtime. What can you say about Adrien Broner, right?
I like
talent
Adrien Broner.
that went to, wasted talent maybe?
Maybe.
No, I don't know. He's naturally athletic. He's kind of gifted. He has skills. He doesn't throw too many punches, but when he does throw in punches, they're accurate. They land. He's effective. This guy that he's facing,
Omar Figueroa.
Figueroa. I haven't watched too much film on him. You know what I mean? But just watching some of his videos, training and stuff, and what film I have found on him and stuff, he doesn't seem like he's gonna he's gonna hold up against Broner. Broner has a lot of people around him.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not the weight.
140.
140. I'm not
Figueroa
sure.
got beat down by Ugas.
Is that who?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Figueroa's lost his last 2 fights. He hasn't been very impressive. But then again, Broner's just like coming in for a payday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Broner's a big name. People want to see
name.
Broner.
Right.
But again, I don't count him out.
Content for Showtime.
I mean,
yeah.
you see, he kind of actually gave Pacquiao a run for his money. I mean, I felt like he hung tough. He went to a unanimous. I mean, he went to all 12 rounds. He lost in a unanimous decision, but at the same time, he hung in there with Pacquiao.
Also with Mikey Garcia, right? He went full distance.
But Mikey Garcia, I felt like took control of that fight from start to finish.
Yeah. So he's been.
I think it's an even matchup, but if anybody has the edge, I would go with the younger guy and the one who's more active, which is maybe Figueroa.
Right. Who knows this?
But it's hard to say. It's a good fight. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like both of them are like on their way out.
Yeah.
So it's just a payday fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Broner on that one. I think that he's gonna.
I say Figueroa by decision.
I want to say Figueroa by decision as well.
Okay.
All right. So we got 2-1. All right, guys. So that concludes this segment. All right, moving on, guys. This next segment, I like to call it "What is Killing Boxing?" And today's topic is the topic of premature stoppages. The referees getting in there way too early, spoiling the fight for the fans, spoiling the fights for the victor and the loser. This is a hot topic that I wholeheartedly am disgusted to see when this happens. Fairly recently, a lot has happened where the refs have stopped in. Some examples, recent examples, of when Gary Russell versus Robert Barthelemy, 6th round, I believe. Russell hits Barthelemy with a right hook. Barthelemy falls to his knees. He gets back up. Goes around in his corner. Looks a little shaken, but he looks conscious, right? The referee gives him the standing 8 count.
Took all of his instructions well.
Right. For a split second, looks him in the eye, and then waves it off. We were like, whoa, what? And it was a competitive fight.
Yeah.
This was a competitive fight, right? Another fairly recent example of this is young Richard Torrez Jr. making his second fight against a fighter, last name Zavala. Torrez hits him with a straight left, right hook. His opponent, Zavala, just stumbles forward a little bit, and in that split instant second, the referee's already in there, stopping the fight, less than a minute into the round 1. Now, my point is, these referees are robbing these first of all, they're robbing the fans, but second of all, they're robbing the fighters of the experience that they need to finish fights, right? You have your opponent hurt, now let's put the finishing touches to make sure it's conclusive.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because just because you hurt an opponent doesn't mean you automatically win the fight, right?
Yeah.
This is the sport of boxing. It's physical. You're going to get hit. Yeah. You're going to show the effects of getting hit. So what's going on with these referees, guys? How do you guys see this topic?
Yeah, like you said, they're just kind of robbing them. I mean, you don't know if that guy's going to come back in the later rounds and he's going to recover and they're going to put on a fight that's going to be historical or not.
Right.
I don't know if it's because it's not a title involved. The refs have a little more discretion to kind of call it early. I mean, if there's a title involved, sometimes they let it drag out further. You know what I mean? Like if somebody gets knocked down. But regardless if that's a factor of it, they should at least allow the guy, his 3 knockdown rule or whatever, and let it continue. Otherwise, you're kind of just like you said, robbing the fans and robbing these guys of their potential, like of recovering and putting on a good
developing
show.
As complete fighters, right? From start to finish. So let's play a what if. What if Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay? What if when he fought Sonny Banks and Henry Cooper, he got knocked down with a left hook? What if the ref stopped it? How would that change history? What if Burt Cooper got the victory over Holyfield when Holyfield, he got hit, hurt, and stumbled around the ropes? What if the ref would have stopped it, right? Another example, Jermaine Taylor versus Kelly Pavlik. Taylor unloads 6-8 punches on Pavlik, just teeing off on him. Pavlik goes down. What if the ref would have stopped it there, right? We know what happens later, right? Pavlik gets off the ground like a real warrior, comes back, fights his way back, and knocks out Jermaine Taylor on the 8th round. Beautiful. That's what boxing's all about.
Even a recent fight, Fury and Wilder.
Right, tell us about that.
Yeah. But honestly, like, to me, if there's an early stoppage like that and fans are confused or whatever the case may be, I think the ref should give an explanation and be like, why did you stop that fight?
Yeah.
The fighters have to explain, what they were going through, or they have to talk about the outcome of the fight. Why don't we get that from the refs?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The fighters train the same way. they go through hell, to make weight,
right,
and they're robbed over, being dazed a little bit.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Were they fighters? Do they know what
being
it takes to
dazed.
recover? You get a
Right,
10 count or 9 count or something to get up for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Right, man.
So give them that option, but you're right. I don't agree with it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I
and
disagree
if
with it.
anything, the corner has the final say.
Yeah.
If their fighter's hurt, they can always waive
Right,
it
they
off.
could right.
But I feel like you don't hear enough from the refs. Do you ever hear from the refs?
No, absolutely not.
So I would like to hear from the refs. I would like to hear like, hey, why did you stop that fight? What did you see?
Right, man.
Yeah.
Or if you made a bad decision, a bad call, then cop up to
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Because
if a fighter's able to defend himself, and he hasn't been knocked down
Right,
the
yeah.
3 times or
Right.
more, he should be able to continue the fight. Otherwise, I mean, unless his corner for some reason knows something more about his health that the referee doesn't, and they want to call it, then that's a different story.
Yeah. Fighters should be able to show the effects of a punch because you're in the combat sport,
And
right?
that's
You
it,
cannot
yeah.
take a powerful shot and not show it. Eventually show it. And if you show it, you're penalized because these referees are going in there like they're saving your life from potential punishment. But that is a sport, right? You're robbing even the loser of their bravery, their courage to show or to prove to themselves what they're made out of, right?
Yeah.
You stop them too soon, they don't know.
Yeah.
The victor, you stopped it too soon. You don't know that you don't know what if I open up to go for the finish? How do I know that my tendency is to drop my left and get hit right while I'm going for the kill, and then the other guy knocks me out? Well, I didn't know that because I wasn't given the chance to go in for the kill and know that I have that deficiency, right?
Yeah.
Right. Dropping my hands.
Or say the fighter goes for the kill, which happens a lot. They don't get that kill and they're gassed out.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
now this guy comes on and there's still a minute left in the round.
Exactly.
And so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't agree with
It's
the
bad.
early
It's
stoppage.
bad.
And then
Maybe-
again, like I think it depends on what state you're in.
Yeah.
Because New York, they stop it fast. California, same way. You go to Texas, you go to Las Vegas, you go to like Arizona, they let them fight.
Yeah.
So each state has different rules.
Yeah.
And I want to say
Yeah,
like
is it more for liability reasons? They don't want these
Possibly.
guys to be injured or damaged and it come back on them, or is it because of the money on the line? For betting, or we don't know. I mean,
Right, yeah,
It's,
who knows,
it's kind of
man?
a behind the scene influence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll pay attention in the future and kind of see, how that plays out and stuff with referees and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely disappointing whenever you got a guy that gets an early stoppage, and he's invested so much time in camp and stuff to prepare for this fight.
You couldn't have said it better. Exactly, man. These fighters, they put their lives on the line. Even before the fight, like you mentioned, they're training their asses off.
Yeah.
They're giving it their 100% for a ref to step in way prematurely, and their chance at their livelihood, right?
Absolutely.
A win means that you earn more money next, and a loss, unfortunately, they're going to earn less.
Yes.
Yeah, so
They're trying to feed their families, man.
Right, exactly. So come on, refs, give these fighters their chance to to win the fight.
and if
to
not, give
fight
an
through it.
explanation why.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that ends our podcast. I want to thank Bad Chaz, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. I am your host, Coach D, and we're out.
Yeah, see you next time.
See ya.